Always on your side. This is First Coast News at 5.
First at 5 tonight, the Carolinas right now seeing an impact from Hurricane Florence. Let's take a live look right now from the Frying Pan Tower. This is a Coast Guard light station about 30 miles off the coast of North Carolina. And look at that. Wind so strong and gusting. You see this American flag shredded right there.
And this is just the beginning of what's to come from Florence. We're seeing the impacts in multiple areas of North Carolina at this hour as Florence begins to dump heavy rainfall and winds in the area. In Kitty Hawk, waves continue to grow in size. As you can see in this video, they continue to slam the pier, with many of the waves reaching the base of it as they come crashing towards the beach. This second video is out of Hatteras, North Carolina, which is a little northeast of Morehead City. You can see waves rushing over the boat ramp as storm surge is growing by the hour.
And in Avon, just north of Hatteras, the beach is there covered with waves all the way up to the dunes. Some of those waves now breaching the dunes as that tide is rising. And in New Bern, we're already seeing signs of the storm surge. So you can see this water right here already up against the cement wall on the shoreline.
So here are your top headlines at this hour. Parts of the Carolinas seeing storm surge. At least 1,400 flights have been canceled because of the storm, and more than 12,000 people are now without power.
And here locally, look at this drone video. We are seeing our biggest waves of the week, as well as very strong rip currents out at our beaches. So this is video you're looking at from South Ponte Vedra Beach. And we're going to check in with Bethany Anderson on conditions in Jack's Beach coming up in just a few minutes.
But first, our great team of storm experts are tracking the latest developments for us. Our Lauren Roudenkrantz is at our other studio tonight, tracking impacts in the Carolinas. But first, we begin with the ultimate storm expert, Tim Deegan.
Thank you, Anthony. And here is Florence. There's the eye. That's about 250 miles to the northeast of us. And as Anthony mentioned, now just creeping to the west and northwest at 5 miles per hour. Close enough now to where we have a complete radar presentation of Florence. So there is Florence. If anything, the eye has tightened a bit. Lauren, in just a few moments, is going to talk about Florence locally as far as North Carolina. But what's it mean for us? We'll take the clouds out of the way so we can clearly see the cone. So here's Florence now creeping to the west, even tomorrow night. So over 30 hours from now, will still be a hurricane on the coast in the Wilmington area, drifting toward Myrtle Beach, then down to a tropical storm. So by Saturday night, that's 2 nights from now, winds will no longer be a problem. The problem will be catastrophically, more than likely, the rains and the flooding. I think this computer model does a pretty good idea of what's going to happen with the weather and our weather. So again, there is Florence. This is tomorrow afternoon, beginning to creep down the coast from Wilmington to Myrtle Beach. Notice here we are on the first coast. The counties are marked. There's Camden, there's Glenn. And it's not until later Saturday that we get on the fringes of some showers and thunderstorms. But by then, Florence, a tropical storm, and actually headed away. So specifically, what does it mean for those of you, especially north of Duval? So we're going to talk about Nassau, Camden, and Glenn, because you'll be nearest. At its nearest forecast point, those of you in Brunswick will be about 150 miles to the south of Florence. So what's that mean? First of all, no worries as far as the storm surge. No worries as far as the freshwater flooding. Will be some bumpy water for the boaters as winds will gust to near 40, and maybe some thunderstorms developing later Saturday and Sunday. For the rest of us in northeast Florida, hot afternoons on the way and some thunderstorms possible as long as it goes as forecast. Let's go to Lauren, where she shows you exactly where this hurricane is and what it's doing. Lauren?
Yes, Tim. Okay, so we're seeing the bulk of our impacts right now in the Morehead City area. And actually, just want to start off with the watches and the warnings. This big yellow polygon here is that tornado watch. And then if we see any smaller red polygons, those are those actual tornado warnings, because as we know with tropical systems, when they are ferociously flying in off the coast, they could have some rotation with them. So of course, that is one of those concerns for the coastal Carolinas, specifically eastern North Carolina right now. We've also got those hurricane warnings in effect, as well as tropical storm warnings, and also a little sliver just left of a hurricane watch. It looks like it has been upgraded recently. And then much of the eastern Carolinas under that flash flood watch, because remember, not only the chance for the tornadoes, but the heavy rain event that is to come for days for this area. Right now, they're really noticing the winds pick up, specifically this county right here, just to the north of New Hanover, which is the city of Wilmington. I just got a report from Pender County EMS up there, they're saying the sky's very dark. They're seeing sustained winds of 30 miles per hour, gusts of 60 plus. And we've already seen that in areas of Morehead City, which have been getting a pounding for much of the day today, which actually picked up earlier this morning. And then other reports that I don't have an actual pinpoint for on our map. Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, not just down the road here in Jacksonville, 76 mile per hour wind gusts. Cape Lookout, which is just right around the corner from Morehead City, and Beaufort, 86 mile per hour wind gusts. We'll have more coming up.
Lauren, thank you. Social media, as you might imagine, is filling up right now with all kinds of dramatic images from Florence. You can see the waves hitting a pier, which is expected to be underwater within the next day. And now to Atlantic Beach, North Carolina, that Lauren was talking about. Look at these huge waves hitting the pier with the eye of the storm still offshore. Now, this is video out of North Carolina showing the storm surge coming in where this television news crew was going live. Look at that right there. And the Barrier Islands of North Carolina seeing huge waves as early as this morning, walls of water coming down the street right in between homes. From another angle, you can see water flowing like a river right down that street. This is near the Cape Hatteras Pier near a North Carolina state road. And video out of Swansboro, North Carolina, showing the storm lashing the coast with dangerous storm surge that we've been talking about. You see that area? There's closed area signs as those rough waves pound that area. Water taking over the sidewalks. People seen standing on the boardwalk with water coming through the boards. There is also flooded driveways, a lot of flooded streets very close to those homes.
So we have more pictures and video that continue to roll in from the storm zone. This video next to me is actually from Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina.
And we are your source for the latest on Hurricane Florence. We have crews spread out all across the southeast tonight as we track this storm. Colt Sullivan is in Nags Head, North Carolina with an update now.
I'm here in Nags Head near Jeanette Pier on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, where the wind is getting stronger and the waves are getting bigger. Take a look at some of these waves behind me here. These are some of the biggest waves we've seen all day. They're coming in, getting closer and closer to the top of the pier. And for people who haven't evacuated, people who haven't left the island, this is an event. They're watching the storm roll in. They're taking pictures, sending messages to their friends saying, look where I was, look where I am as the storm comes in. But for many of them, right now is the last chance they have to prepare for Hurricane Florence. There comes a time when even the most adventurous need to tie down.
The winds out of the northeast, east vibrate the sign, and we've been through quite a few of them, so hopefully, tying the sign down will shore it up.
Last minute preparations before the full force of Florence hits the Outer Banks.
As ready as we'll ever be. I mean, Mother Nature, she declares what goes on.
The 7-Eleven is one of the only stores still open, and it's some people's last stop. They've decided now's the time to get out of town.
Better safe than sorry. It's not so much the wind, it's just the flooding. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it safe, get on out of here.
Others riding it out, stocking up on supplies and getting their houses ready for the storm.
Board up some windows, sandbags, your typical stuff.
He says he's not worried. They're used to bad weather around here.
A little bit of storm surge, some wind, some water, but nothing we haven't seen before.
As the roads empty, the waves pick up and Hurricane Florence gets closer to shore. About the only businesses open on the island today are gas stations. I talked to one clerk who said they actually stocked up on beer before the storm, and he said that's about all they've sold in the past couple of days. In Nags Head, North Carolina, I'm Cole Sullivan.
Stocking up on beer, huh? Interesting. Well, people looking to help those in Florence's path found a way to do so today by giving blood. And our Juliet Dreyer joins us now live with the details.
Anthony, we know what those folks in North and South Carolina are feeling right now because we have all been there ourselves. I've heard a lot of people asking and posting on social media, how can we help? Well, today, Life South Community Blood Centers and Memorial Hospital hosted a blood drive to help ensure blood needs are met during and after Hurricane Florence. During hurricanes, people evacuate and blood banks are often forced to shut down. Well, that impacts the available blood supply. Both people in the community and hospital employees gave their time and their blood, which they know will be critical in the coming days.
Because of all the injuries and people having to come in to have surgery, and there's a need.
I wanted to help somebody else out. I've had some difficult times lately, and there's a lot of people who have a lot worse times, so I wanted to help.
Just because the blood drive is over for the day doesn't mean you can't help. Just go to our website, firstcoastnews.com, for a list of donor centers and upcoming blood drives. Meanwhile, more patients evacuated from South Carolina hospitals are arriving here in Northeast Florida. We'll hear from one of them all new tonight at 6. Reporting live, Juliet Dreyer, First Coast News, on your side.
Juliet, thank you. And you can get the latest advisories, model runs, and storm preparation checklists and other resources in our Hurricane Central section. That's right now on our website, firstcoastnews.com, and also on our free mobile app. It's free for both Android and Apple devices.
And we will have much more on Florence still to come. But now to St. Johns County, where deputies have 4 men in custody in connection to a homicide investigation. So police say this all started around 2:30 this morning on Cowan Road. Nick Perot is on your side. He joins us from St. Johns County with the latest. Nick?
Heather, good evening. Yes, this was nearly an 11-hour search that St. Johns County Sheriff deputies say in connection to activity outside of a home here along Cowan Road that has left 4 men in jail, 1 dead. But St. Johns County Sheriff's Office is actually thanking the community tonight for their help.
I've been living back here for 42 years, and I ain't never had nothing like this happen. It's sad stuff like that happens around here.
Sadly, the stuff Garland Spangler and others in this Green Acres neighborhood is concerned about is crime. Crime St. Johns County deputies say actually came here from neighboring Duval County. Police say 5 men drove to a home here along Collins Street in this white SUV from Duval for something drug-related.
Obviously, things didn't go very well.
Police cannot confirm whether this was a robbery gone bad, but say one of the 5 is found shot dead outside this home. The people living inside called police but were not home when they arrived. The other 4 men from Duval County get back into the SUV. Police follow but lose the men. Thanks to the help from a neighbor's home surveillance, police see the men running out of the SUV into nearby woods. About 5:30, catch 1. A few hours later, a second taken into custody. With the rain picking up, SWAT moves in across this Green Acres neighborhood with long rifles in hand.
So everyone is accounted for.
Police arrest the final 2 just before 1:30.
I'm glad all the cops are here taking care of us, and they've been out here all night.
Well, the community is thanking police for their effort.
Essentially, at the end of the day, it was the public.
The sheriff's office is left thanking the community.
But the fact that somebody had the courage to see something and say something and pick up the phone, make the call to the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office, we were able to end this thing before the 5 o'clock hour.
And back out here live, St. Johns County Sheriff's Office has yet to notify next of kin, and charges are still pending. Make sure to keep it right here for the very latest. We're live tonight in St. Johns County. Nick Perot, First Coast News, on your side.
Nick, thank you. And as Florence moves closer tonight, you know storm surge is a growing concern.
It sure is. How it's going to impact areas of the coastal Carolinas, that's next on First Coast News at 5.